It's a growing body of people. It looks as though there was almost an enemy's profile, and then there was action that flowed from it. Give us the latest on the Bryan Malinowski case. He seems to fit one of those profiles of a Second Amendment advocate. Tell us what we should know.
Well, and not a very vocal one. Bryan Malinowski was a professional. He was a well-respected director of the Little Rock Airport, which is unfortunately called the Bill and Hillary Clinton National Airport, but I call it the Little Rock Airport. He was very successful there, and he was a hobbyist. He collected coins, he collected firearms, and he went out occasionally on a Saturday and rented a table at local gun shows and bought and sold and traded coins and guns and other artifacts like a lot of people do at gun shows. He was laying in bed with his wife an hour before sunup on March 19, 2023, and they heard their front doors crash in. And he had no reason to know he was under investigation, no reason to know that anybody thought he'd done anything wrong. And he got out of bed and grabbed a pistol to defend his wife, took a shot at the intruders, and they blew his brains out. They were the ATF. They'd come with an entire SWAT team to raid his home and search and execute a search warrant as if he was some kind of a cartel kingpin. And yes, that would never happen in any Republican administration during my lifetime, because they were trying to basically attack with something they didn't like politically. The fact that some people, hobbyists, are allowed to go to gun shows and buy and sell guns without doing a bunch of paperwork. That's what Bryan was doing.
But if I could just
out in front of God and
Bryan
everybody.
Malinowski had been asked to surrender, would he have surrendered peacefully instead of having to raid his home?
Of course. Everybody that knew Bryan Malinowski knew that he loved his career as an airport director. It's highly regulated, FAA regulations left and right. If anybody had suggested to him that anything he was doing in his spare time on a Saturday afternoon was going to jeopardize his career, he would have backed off. And in fact, the ATF in other situations where they're concerned about somebody's hobbyist activity at a gun show has sent cease and desist letters. And that would have been the appropriate thing in his case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ideally, at any organization, you want folks to be equal parts patriot and equal parts leader. When the ATF came forward after this and you had conversations with them, did they express any leadership when it came to finding the truth about it? Any remorse as far as what had taken place? Anything at all?
The only statements we've ever heard, basically, what the ATF is trying to sell is two things. One is they're trying to suggest that Bryan Malinowski was what they call a significant gun trafficker. The second thing they're trying to suggest is that he somehow knew when he got out of bed that there were law enforcement coming in his front door, that had just broken down his front door, and that he intentionally decided to shoot it out with law enforcement. Both of those are easily disproved by the facts in the Arkansas State Police investigation and in the ATF's own affidavit in their search warrant. But so far, that's all they've maintained, is that they had no choice. It was self-defense on their part, and they just can't explain why this professional citizen who was doing what he was doing in front of God and everybody at gun shows decided to shoot it out with police and I guess commit suicide. It's pretty offensive, really. It's pretty offensive that they would suggest that, and I think it's been over a year and a half, and I think it's time for the leadership at DOJ to independently look at this and not allow ATF to try to sell that story for another day.